Is this thing on? I think we are live. All right, we are live. What's happening, everybody? Everybody's having a fantastic whatever day you're watching this. I try to knock out the ads when you watch this after it goes live. YouTube will saturate it with ads. I try to get those as quickly as I can. I've had a couple of instances where I've wiped out ads and then they get put back in. Learning as I go, I guess, with this kind of stuff. So anyway, if you're watching this after it goes live and you're getting saturated with ads, comment, let me know that it's still getting hit with a ton of ads, and I'll go back and just check and make sure that me going back through, because it has to process, I just don't want you to get hit with a ton of ads. I know it's annoying. It annoys me whenever I'm watching videos and I'm getting blasted that way. So anyway, hope everybody's having a good one. Want to thank each and every one of y'all. Thank everybody for hanging out with me tonight. It's going to be a bit of a short show. Typically these shows go on for about an hour or two, but I'm trying to drag that down just a little bit, trying to keep these a little bit more digestible. Your favorite background noise generator, if you will. But we'll see how that starts to work out. May kick in another live show here or there. If I can, make the shows maybe a little bit shorter and get you guys a little bit better content along with that. And maybe a little bit more interaction too. I have a tendency to get a little bit long-winded, and sometimes I just don't get to everybody's questions. So I want to try to have this be a little bit more interactive and have some of what used to be like the opening monologue be a standalone video on itself. So that way the Mopar chats can really be more about questions and answers than me coming up with a topic and I go rambling on incoherently. That way it's a little bit more interactive. So a little bit different approach with the live show. We'll give it a shot. And it's not like the format's really changing at all, but just looking to do a little bit something different, maybe, if you will. So let me check in with you guys straight away. Base is in. Ardell is in. What's up, man? Howdy, Professor. I'm glad to catch a live feed coming from Smoking 05. Very cool. So Ghost RT is in saying, what's up, Professor B? What's up? So I just got through putting out the standalone video, which would have been the opening monologue for this show based on like the old format. And we're talking about camshafts. So if you guys want to talk about camshafts, go ahead. I've got a good video on how to pick the right cam for you. It's actually, so here's the thing, kind of a peek behind the curtain. I could do a video individually just on intake duration and intake center line. I could do a specific video just on lobe separation angle, how all of that affects how an engine's going to operate, why certain lobe seps are preferred, why not wide, why not tight, different intake center lines and the like, all of that matters. That last video that I did was kind of I just tried to do a blanket statement type video. I've been getting a lot of you guys asking me about camshafts, so that's why I went with that video. Michael Zim, what's up, man? Smoking saying, for cams, I realize that more duration isn't always better, but man, does a big chop sound good. It does sound good. It sounds a whole lot better when that big chop is being compressed with high compression. That's one of the big things about cams is, and this is, again, part of camshaft chat, if you will, it's real difficult to talk about cams in a vacuum. You really have to get specific when you're asking about camshafts. And so when guys ask me, what's the best? There's no such thing. It doesn't exist. Is bigger better? No, bigger can be far and away worse when it comes to camshafts. Just for every reason that you can start to dream up. Poor port velocity means no power down low, poor throttle response, wants to load up, wants to surge. All of these issues can come from having too much camshaft. So the way that I try to, when I'm putting a camshaft together, there's a lot of bedside manner that I've got to come up with, and I've got to try to translate from I've got to try to translate what somebody is trying to tell me through the spectrum of their own experience. And a lot of times it's small block Chevy, small block Ford. And in those cases, 224, 226 cams might have been commonplace. But for these modern engines with cylinder heads that flow way better than even race heads flowed back in the day, that the same mentality just does not cross over. It doesn't translate. So, base saying the guys at Quittenborough. Oh, well, yeah, some cams cause idle issues. Yeah, well, that's the big issue is that any larger duration cam, and it's a gray area, but the more duration you have, the slower your port velocity is going to be going through that intake runner. Slower the port velocity is, the worse idle quality you're going to have. But bad idle quality is also indicative of poor partial throttle performance. In other words, partial throttle cruise can become a bit obnoxious. And you don't want something that's going to just be soft or something that is going to be extremely peaky when you're rolling into the throttle, especially if you're driving a manual transmission car. Sometimes that peakiness is adorable with an automatic if you have the right stall converter. It makes it exciting to drive. It's definitely part of the theater of that ensemble, if you will, and especially if you've coupled that with a high compression engine, say 11-to-1 and up. But in a manual transmission car, it gets real annoying because the same throttle position could be slightly revving or it could be wah. It's just, it can be annoying. I can just put it to you like that. And so what seems like a lot of fun for guys, yeah, I want all the cam. What I didn't mention in the video is I've had customers come back and say, well, it's not what I was looking for. Yeah, it's exactly what you were asking for. You just didn't know what you were getting yourself into. There ain't no refunds in that game. So anyway, get back to it. Sam saying, today it's hard to find people that know their way around carbs and mechanical diesels. Yeah, carburetors are, that's actually coming back in a big way for a lot of guys. The mechanical diesels, probably the same thing. You're starting to get to a point now where if you want to hot rod anything, it's going to have to come from an era where hot rodding was not only legal, but it was kind of part of the ethos of just being in car culture. Smoking's asking, my wife's Daytona 5.7 with MDS, is it worth putting a 6.4 MDS cam in it for slight power gain? No, not at all. In fact, I mentioned that in the video. It's the wife's car. I'd be in trouble if I delete MDS. Well, she may not even notice if you delete MDS. In fact, if you get it tuned, the first thing a tuner does is kill MDS. It doesn't really make a difference in terms of fuel economy. I can tell you that, unless you are under, there is one criteria where MDS does very, very good at getting good fuel economy numbers, but you've got to really try to get there. And it's at cruise at about 63 miles per hour in very flat conditions. What the hell is up my face? That's where MDS does a really good job. Other than that, not worth it. Yeah, don't worry about a 6.4 MDS cam. It's not, the difference in duration is slight. You go from 188 to 190 on the 5.7 cam to 215 on the 6.4 cam. So there's some performance gain there just with the extra intake duration, but the lobe separation is real wide on a 6.4 cam. I've heard of guys getting some power gain out of it. It would not be my first choice. If I'm putting a cam in a car, it's going to be a cam where you're going to get gobs of power out of the thing, at least through the mid-range for sure. Jeremy's got a question saying, my new RT feels like it's surging when I'm at steady idle. Also, trans shift feels soft in sport. Not sure what's up. I couldn't tell you if it's throwing codes or something. How many miles are on the car? just remember that if it's new, you're mentioning that it's new. I don't know how new is in this case, but there is in the tune, there are limiters in the tune up to and including. Okay, you got 6,700 miles, so you're past this. There are provisions in the tune that will actually limit the car. No light. I don't really know what would be causing it to surge unless it's bad fuel quality. I have had that be an issue before. That's the only thing I can think of be poor fuel quality. There's nothing mechanically that would cause that unless there could be something odd going on with the throttle body, but you'll typically get a fault code. It's a little lightning bolt looking thing. Smoking Up, I say she definitely noticed a choppy cam, so I couldn't sneak a big cam in it. My wife would love that. She loves turning tires into tire smoke. But yeah, Jeremy, if it doesn't have a light and it's doing something altogether different, check to see what you're doing different now versus when you first got it and it was running good. So, again, if you change where you put gas in the car, change fuel grades, any of that can create an issue. Todd, thank you very much. Saying, on a trip from Gatlinburg, Tennessee to Nashville, Tennessee, averaged 27 miles per gallon in my 19392 Daytona. That's with 500 pounds of passenger and a lot of luggage. I almost believe 30 could have been possible in my car, and you may be onto something. So with Buffy, my boss and I have got this thing going where whenever we're on road trips, we'll shoot each other pictures of the fuel economy that we're trying to get. We try to get the highest fuel economy we can. The highest average fuel economy I've gotten out of Buffy at 63 miles per hour in flat running conditions in mixed traffic. So that means other cars are on the road. I'm in some kind of draft scenarios here and there, was 28. So that's not too shabby. But yeah, that's in Buffy, which is a Hemi powered truck. But yeah, you can definitely get decent fuel economy with these things. No question about it. Let's see. He's saying Cooks has a set of long tubes that don't require a computer retune, 1 7/8 inch catted mid pipe for the 6.4 Hemi. Yeah, they do actually require a computer retune unless they are heavily insulated, because they will absolutely freak out the NOx sensors. So I would have to take a look at that. But the reality is that anytime you put long tube headers, short tube headers, tubed headers on any of the Hemis, you are going to have a situation where the noise, just the ting, ting, ting noise of a long tube header will freak out the NOx sensors. It's something that we have to tune for immediately. There's also a thing called for the oxygen sensors, which is the transport function, which you have to adjust so that the computer knows when the engine is firing, the O2 knows what to monitor in terms of air fuel at that moment. And it also helps it to pick up on misfires. Now, once you make those changes, you also go in and you may have to make adjustments to misfire counters and things like that, which Hemis are often kind of weird about anyway. But thank you, Tad. I appreciate that, bud. John's asking, do you really believe all these random people buying Hellcats actually know how to drive the car? No, none of them do at all. As a matter of fact, what happens is they find themselves in scenarios that they wouldn't have found themselves in otherwise. Sam's saying the new diesels have a sensor that picks up on off-road diesel. That would be a real problem if you had a yard truck. How does that work? I mean, if you have a truck that basically lives its entire life at the plant, That's so weird. Diesel is so weird to me, man. I could never get into the diesel thing. X is saying, I've got a 218, 226 cam for my 6.1 with all the valve train support, intake, long tubes, and tuning. Yes, it feels like you lose torque in the lower rev range, even though overall torque and horsepower up. What is your lobe separation on that cam on a 218, 226? The reason why I ask is the stock cam in a 6.1 is not much different than that. So I would be curious to know what the intake center line and what the lobe separation is for that cam. I typically recommend 224, 230 cams for the 6.1. But I also have tight lobe separation angles. Really for any of the fixed manifold cars, I like to see something around 113. And I go over that in that video too. Saying, but Lord, does it pull so much stronger up top? I will typically be more aggressive with some of those. Justin saying, what up, Mason? What up, Justin? Oh, Jeremy saying, it's been doing it for about 3 weeks with 93 Sunoco, changed from 90 straight gas, both the same. Interesting. Not sure. Try switching to a different fuel station. There, that gas might be bad at Sunoco. John, if you buy a manual Hellcat and try to swap it to automatic, no, don't even bother with that. That would be a night. Yes, it would be prohibitively expensive, and no shop would take that job. I promise you. I take that back. Somebody might take that job, but it's not going to be as easy as you think. You're looking at wiring harnesses, a different ECU altogether. You'd have to buy the TCM, which would come with the transmission. I wouldn't bother with that. Don't do that. So I was saying, welcome. Jeremy saying, yeah, wrapped around a pole. What? I don't know what that means, man. X is saying, oh, love your video the other day about the 6.1. I kind of like that they are forgotten about. People always look at me like I don't know what my car is. Isn't that the truth? I was even talking to my wife about this. It's the car that got me back into Mopar. The guy that owns it, or the girl that owns it, actually works at an assisted living place. And I always see it there. It's one of the, I guess, nurses or admins, or who knows, I don't know, but it is black with silver stripes. And it is just a beautiful SRT Challenger. Car Wash saying, Erie, Pennsylvania, check it in. I like it. Do you expect the Hurricane engine to be a contender as the 6.2 replacement? What horsepower levels do you expect? Yeah, I expect the Hurricane to remain what it is today. 400 horsepower and 500 horsepower. You will see the 6 placement of that come from would be in a hybrid transmission. HP does have a provision for a hybrid in, I think they're 9-speed, and it's an axial motor. If memory serves me correctly, it falls in line with it's right after the torque converter, I believe. Anyway, I'm going to start getting a lot of the facts wrong, but at least you get the right idea. Same difference though. It's like 125 horsepower and 200 pound-feet of torque or something like that. But it's like right now, and it's really nasty. So that's what I would expect to see come from it. John saying, how do you hit the speed bag very well? I suck at it. Just get in there and practice. Watch my video and copy my cadence, and you'll immediately start to be able to go time on a speed bag. And it's just it just depends on how hard you're hitting it and what you're doing. You might see me move at different angles, but it's just a real steady cadence. And once you just do the cadence that I'm doing, and you'll immediately you go, oh, this is working. work with your dominant hand first, and then come back with your other hand in a very symmetrical way. So if you're like left hand dominant, start with the left hand, go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then just get started and start playing with it. You'll get there. But a lot of it has to do with pressure. Don't go over like 4 PSI. Oh, that's another thing. On that speed bag video, one thing I didn't talk about was pressure. I run low pressure on my speed bag. It's like 4 at the most. It's usually 3. The reason why is so I can put more power into the speed bag when I'm hitting it. So if you go real heavy with pressure and you barely touch the thing, it's blah, 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 all over the place. So you at that point, you're just basically just tap, 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 tap. I like going low pressure, just enough to where I get some action out of the bag. That way I can actually hit it with a little bit more force. And it's kind of like working a heavy bag in some respects with that. So anyway, and I get to play angles off of it too. Anyway, it's something I have a ball with that thing. I have a lot of fun with my speed bag. I'm not very good. Like I can't do I can't do all that stuff. I've tried and I just look like an idiot. A lot of that has to do though with getting the pressure right and getting your cadence. So I can do rollings. I can do some things with it, but I'm just not very good at it. Sam, it's mainly something I've been seeing on the GM trucks and some medium duty trucks. That's crazy. Oh, Sovereign saying, if anybody's watching the stream mobile device, please take a minute, hit the like button. If it's your first time on the show, please consider subscribing. It means a ton to the channel. Subscriptions really do matter. Hit that bell. Each subscription matters. It's not, don't think, oh, he's got, a certain number. Mine doesn't matter. No, yours matters. And so does yours. And I'm looking at you. Yours does too. Base, thank you very much. Saying I got called out by a car full of guys in an Audi A5. My kid was on board, so I just laughed and told him I don't want to take his money. Pretty sure I'd toast that car in my scat. Oh yeah, been a good waxing on him. But thank you so much, man. I appreciate the support, my friend. Oh, X on his 218 is a 112. I was going to say on a 218 for your car, you would want it to be on a 112. Most of the 6.1s that I would have put together were 220. Actually, they were kind of like that stage 1 for the 6.4, stage 2 for the 5.7, 220, 230s, and 222, 228s, and all of those were on 113s. So that's about where you'd want to be. And again, if any of y'all are watching this and you've watched that camshaft video, it is so hard. It's why I tried to fan tell at some point. Like I'm trying to give specifics, but I'm also trying to be real general too, because there's so many different ways to get to a good camshaft. And a 218 on a 112 is a good cam for a 6.1. It plays real nice with the intake manifold. Sovereign's asking if I saw Racer X's video on the Hemi going away yesterday. I did, yes. Kind of crazy, isn't it? Sam talking about the 1507. Let's see. Before the 08, the 1500s only had one O2 sensor. One O2 sensor. Diesel made before 06 don't have O2 sensors. Yes. Greg's asking, I have a 93 octane tuned Hellcat Red Eye with 21,000 miles on it. Do I run butane? What would you suggest? When would you suggest changing the plugs? Presumably, Greg, if you've got a 93 octane tuned Hellcat Red Eye, you don't need to run butane. I will tell you that, and you're saying it does have a 285 pulley. Your car is way detuned on 93 octane. Yeah, I would probably run butane in that combination because you're hovering around 18 or 19 PSI with that thing with a 285 upper. That is not a 93 octane combination. That 93 octane is a get you home tune. I would highly suggest running Boostane with it. I would also probably suggest go with a different upper pulley and get a proper 93 octane tune on that car. Not saying that there's something inherently wrong with your combination, but I don't know what else you've got going on with that thing to get you to the point where you're at. I will put it to you like this. Most 285 upper red eyes are running on E85. And 285 on a regular Hellcat is the stretch. I mean, that's as far as you can go with 93 octane. So on a red eye with it having a significantly larger pulley, it's going to be even more than that. So, yeah, I'm not trying to freak you out or anything, man. I'm just saying that's a lot of pulley and a lot of boost to try to manage with 93 octane. And the reason why I'm harping on this is because you can't guarantee what your quality of 93 octane is. So yeah, I'd run at least 1.5 ounces of Boostane in that thing at all times. And as far as how often would I suggest changing plugs, I'd say somewhere around 35,000 miles, I would want to start seeing you changing plugs on that thing, or at least check them and make sure that they're still looking good. We've had Hellcats come through with over 100,000 miles with stock plugs and they were running fine, but you need to start checking them at your boost level and at your fuel level. I would be probably pulling number one and just checking them anyway. Sovereign's asking, is a 5.7 able to take advantage of 87, 89, and 91? It will run on 87. I would prefer minimum 89. I don't run anything less than 89 in mine. Sovereign's, run 89 in it is my suggestion. Although it will run on 87 if you're just cruising around in it. Jeremy's saying, at base, some of those Audi A5s can move. Yeah, if they're tuned, if he's got a lot of work done to it, all of the Audis are fast if they've got some work done to it. So RV gas is a recreational vehicle or small engine fuel. So that's anything that is not your traditional automobile. Like in other words, if you have an older vehicle, if you have power sports, motorcycles, things like that, that's what you're going to be looking at. You're going to be looking at a fuel that is going to be in that 87, 89 octane range. No ethanol though. What the fuck is that? Apparently it is really windy. Anyway. And the reason why you're not going to run ethanol is, I mean, y'all saw me do that teardown on the carburetor. The ethanol, when it deteriorates, it gets this crust. It's like a plaque almost that just gets into everything. Sovereign saying, so 87 is a no-no. I mean, you can run it. It's just not going to be optimal for that engine. It's going to be in knock retard quite a bit. John said, do you think they could have squeezed a bit more power to the Scat Pack engine from the factory to at least 530? Not with that camshaft and not with that intake manifold now. It could have been done, but not with the components that are on the car. Sam saying fuel can be very confusing. Fuel can be very, very confusing. Sovereign saying at the pumps, all he sees is 87, 89, and 91. And the reason why that's all you're seeing, Sovereign, and what Sam's talking about, there a lot of parts of the world just don't have fuel like what Sam's talking about. We have it down here in Texas, but you do have to go looking for it. Sovereign, no, the 5.7 in the Durango is not a flex fuel vehicle. Base is asking, can you run 96 octane safely in a stock tuned Cat? Provided that it's unleaded, yes, 100% you can. SC Dubs checking in from Las Vegas. What's up, my man? Yeah, Sam saying most of the fuel you get at the pump is between 5 and 20% ethanol. Most vehicles built today, as of really, honestly, not just the 2023 thing. This is as of, I want to say 2012, 2008, will manage up to E15. Most of the fuel that you see is E10, means it's 10% ethanol up to 10%. E15 was the proposed fuel mix. And fun fact, the Hellcat stoichiometric value that you read in the dash is the true stoichiometric value. If they say it the right way, is the same for E15. It's not for regular gasoline at 14.7 or 14.1, which is E10. Oh yeah, Ghost is checking in with John. The thing is that the 6.4, when it was in development, was making, he's exactly right, it was making over 500 horsepower. It was using kind of a shortened version of the 6.1 liter fixed intake manifold. The problem is it didn't come anywhere near to making the torque down low that the 6.4 does with the variable runner intake. I mean, you talk about a really strong upgrade. That variable runner for the 6.4 made a lot of difference in that partial throttle power down low and in fuel economy as well. Sovereign say, I wonder, since we're in California, the 5.7 would not run optimally with 91 gas. Would butane be needed to bump to 93? Don't get caught up in the octane rating itself. 91 is perfectly fine for most tunes. You get into 93, yes, it is better because it is a safer fuel. And 93 protects you. It is really windy. 93 protects you in the event that you have a tank of gas that isn't necessarily up to par. And let's say it's 91 octane. 91 octane doesn't give you a lot of wiggle room. 91 octane, if it's not quite up to par, could be 89, if that makes any sense. So that's why a lot of folks get a little bit concerned when you start talking about specific octanes. 93 gives you a little bit more wiggle room in terms of being a safer fuel in general. Sam is saying modern diesel can be up to 20% bio. Some are saying corn crust. That's exactly what it is. It's a good way to put it. It is corn crust. Jeremy's saying a manual for my 16 RT 6-speed 93 octane was recommended. It will run on 89, but 93 is the recommended. Yes. Summer saying, thanks, B. You're welcome. Sam saying, I have place I got to go for gas for my toys, 92 octane RV gas. I'm happy about that. Yes. And I've been saying this for years, guys. Just if you've got a car that sits for any real length of time, stay-bill, fill her up with non-ethanol fuel, and you'll be a whole lot happier for that. SCW saying, sometimes I put 100 octane in my 6.1. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Matter of fact, is this 260 GT? I use a 260 GT can for my gas can. Or a gas can for my trash can. So, yeah. Used to run this a lot before I started really getting more into 93 octane stuff. I used to run 260 GT in the Hellcat. Never really saw a big difference there, but it would definitely make you feel better. We have got a storm blowing through right now, and it is pretty nasty. No Average RT is in. What's up, buddy? Thank you very much. Doesn't have a question. I do have a question for you, Noab, though. Did you get everything sorted out with your intake manifold? If not, give Alex a shout and have him see if he can sort that out. I know you were working on that there for a hot minute. So, and by the way, yes, I am hanging out with a kind of a messed up finger. So I kind of cut the end of my finger off almost with this knife. So here's the problem. I'll do an event every once in a while where I'm, grilling, and I was cutting some onions, and I somehow or another, I cut my finger, and it's bad when the knife stops cutting and it's like, anyway, it's one of those things where I have to have a butterfly and a Band-Aid, because if I don't, the bottom part of my finger kind of falls off. So anyway, there's that. It wouldn't be me unless I was, injuring myself. So the scoreboard so far is still, it's healed up now. But this is where the skin split when I had the compression fracture on this finger, which luckily it swelled up and then immediately bled out. So we're cool now. It still hurts, but doesn't hurt. I still can't bend it all the way back like this. I can, I still can't bend it all the way down or back, but and it's not really swollen anymore, which is good. But yeah, this was pretty bad. That was a compression fracture, which was a couple of weeks ago. And again, it's broken when the whole thing turns purple and is filling up with blood. And then because it smashed it so hard, it split the skin down here. That's where the two weights kind of came together. Anyway, luckily I busted it, but it was like a self-fixing problem because I cut it, bled all over the place. That's fine now. And not to be, I guess this finger got jealous, and and it was bad to you. You cut yourself deep again when the knife quits cutting. And I was putting a lot of pressure on it too. And that knife is real sharp. So anyway, I have to keep all this together so it doesn't go blah, 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 all over the place. What else have I done? Is that it? I think that's it lately. I got to sit here and think. I'm typically hurting myself. So I keep Band-Aids, butterflies, always keep butterflies around. But you're always working with your hands. You end up like half the time, I don't even realize it. Like I'll have a cut or something hits me in the arm or whatever. Those you don't even notice and you don't ever feel it. You just look down and you're bleeding. Like, how did I stick myself with something? But this is on the end of your finger, and I felt every nanometer second of that. And still, just the thought of it just freaks me out. Anyway, but yeah, that's what's up with that. That one. Anyway, let me get back to you guys. Did y'all hear the thunder out there? Sorry, saying, geez, you messed up your finger last time too. Yeah, that was this one. Damn, Slash saying his entire garage flooded. That sucks, man. Jeremy's got the medical thing going there. SCW saying I burned the side of my index finger touching something hot. Yeah. Sorry, saying butterfingers. I don't know. I need to. At this rate, I'm going to be running around with cuts and everything else all over myself. Oh, No Average is saying he did ask a question, but it was in the comments. Did I miss it? Where are you at, brother? Man, it didn't come up on my end. If you can see it on your end, let me know, but I do not see No Av RT in here. So yeah, let me know what was the, yeah, let me know, man. I mean, whatever I can do to help. Hopefully I can help you. But yeah, post that back up, buddy. It's not coming up on my side. Did I miss it? Yeah, it looks like it didn't come up, man. I'm trying to find it. What was the? Oh, here it is. No, that's still you. I did ask the question. Sorry. Hang on. Make one more pass through here. No app. Let's see if I can. If I just missed it again. If not, post it back up. Let me know what's up. I know last time you were on, I remember you were saying that you had an issue with that 6.4 manifold on your 5.7. Oh, 6.4 intake lost power everywhere, and ET tried 3 different tuners and had it dyno tuned. It left the tuner scratching their head. Smoke test was done. So let me ask you something though, and this is what I keep forgetting to ask you this. Where are you flipping the short runner valve on the 6.4 manifold? And how are you flipping it? Are you using a window switch, or are you using a repinned ECU, or are you using the Z Automotive deal? And can you verify that it is switching? I've been meaning to, I wanted to get a hold of you. I wanted to ask you that because all of that leads up to why you would have lost. It sounds like the intake is either stuck in one of two directions. It's either stuck open, which means that you're constantly running on the short runner valve, or it's stuck closed and it's only running through the long runner section. So let me know what, I'm just curious to find out about that. Slash is asking, if I start my dream build with a 6.4 BGE block, do I need to have it torque plane honed like the Hellcat block is? That's just you're just checking it for flatness at that point. Always a good idea to have a torque plate. And for you guys that don't know what he's talking about, a torque plate is a plate that is installed when you're checking flatness for a cylinder head or cylinder head. When you're checking flatness for a block, it basically mimics a cylinder head being torqued onto that deck of that block. Some folks swear by it. Other folks are about that. I like to see them employed if at all possible. If you're doing a real mild, just a super easy, like a 5,000ths or a 10,000ths cleanup, I don't really think you need it too much, but if they've got it, employ it because it's worth it. And really, again, all you're checking for is flatness. So a 5,000ths deck is, I don't know that would really honestly make a huge difference. Check with your machinist, but for me, if it's just a minor deck, don't worry about it. Unless they have one in play. But yeah, seriously, no FRT. I would love, I mean, you got my number, shoot me a text. I'm really curious to see, if you don't want to get into it here, what happened. Oh, let's see. Oh, there you are back here. Just curious as to what the deal was with that. Because typically the way that it works on the 5.7, you would pick up some torque down low, and then when you switch it, you'll see it pick up mainly on the big end. So again, I'm kind of curious as far as what you ran into. But anyway, for you guys, again, if you haven't had a chance, I did put up a video earlier. Again, it's really more along the same value as being a background noise generator. I know it's what most guys like to have this video or my videos on, like this live show, or some of my stuff is typically on mainly for guys that know that I don't want to say know more about cars than the average enthusiast, but it's for guys that have a bit more of an understanding of how the engines work, and they want to know more of the why behind the what when people are talking about say camshafts or intake manifold porting, cylinder head porting, compression ratios, things like that. It's, you know, most of my content is really geared more towards an educational side too. So it can sometimes be entertaining, but it's really more of an education for a lot of guys than anything else. Oh, Sovereign's got the video I just put up about the camshafts. Yeah. You know, and one of my regrets, I really do, guys. One of the cars I regret getting is a 6.1 car, because I would love, this would be my, like, if I could have a dream build of a Challenger, if you will, something to complement the Hellcat. If I were to get rid of my Fox body, what would I want to replace it with, type of a thing? I'll tell you exactly what it would be. It would be a 6-speed manual 6.1 6.1 Challenger. I would take, it'd be a Barton shifter, stock head, stock intake. I wouldn't touch any of that, but I would go with a 224, 228, or 224, 230 cam, 112 or 113 degree lobe separation, long tube headers, high flow cats, metal substrate, and that'd be it. That would be my ultimate dream car. Well, in clutch line mod. Do you even have to do a clutch line mod on the older cars? Anyway, I would check to see if I need to do a clutch line mod. But the thing is that would be my dream Challenger to own. Probably lower it on CCW wheels. And man, you want to talk about a fun, fast, big, hot rod of a car. That would be the project for me. So, you know, just kind of an interesting thing to consider. You know, a lot of people say, well, what about this car or that car or whatever, the Hellcats or the Red Eyes and all of that. Guys, I got to tell you, you get to a point with anything, and when you've had a lot of fun and a lot of opportunity to drive a lot of really fast cars, you'll find yourself missing the things that made you really happy. You guys, have y'all seen the movie The Menu? I haven't seen it, but I understand the premise of it. And what it is, it's a chef. He starts out, he loves cooking, and then everything gets too carried away, and gets really involved into the really high-end stuff. Anyway, all he wanted to do is just be a cook, and this is where his life had taken him. Things got out of control. And so he starts, I don't know, killing people or doing other. Anyway, the thing is, though, is that's you miss the stuff that matters to you, like the feeling of the shifter and just the power delivery. It doesn't have to make 1,000 horsepower. It doesn't even have to make 500 horsepower of the rear wheels to be a whole lot of fun. And so there have been times, guys, where I had almost put together a video saying, look, Revlon's going up for sale. This is what you get. This is the car. This is what you can expect. Here's the number. Somebody come get this thing. Cut me a check. When the money hits the bank, the title is yours. And in its place, that is the car that I would have put in its place, especially with the drag strip going away. Yeah, my goal would be to have something that was just really nice, really clean, and really fun to drive, with more of just a bolt action feel in that Barton shifter. That's really what I would have done. That has almost happened on a couple of different occasions, by the way. But Sovereign's saying 6.1 manual SRT8. Yep. Because I wouldn't worry about the number that the car put out, other than to make sure that it's a healthy example of the breed. For me, it would be irrelevant to the numbers that it would put down at a drag strip. That just like it's irrelevant how a GT350 gets down a drag strip, or more to the point, how a GT500, old school GT500, goes down a drag strip. It doesn't matter to me. In fact, knowing those numbers takes away from the fun of those vehicles, in my opinion. Let's see. Oh, no, I was saying 4,700 RPM tuners. It's pinned in with the PCM. The intake works just fine. I'll talk more in private. Yeah, let me know. Hit me up. Let's chat about that at some point. Sovereign saying saw one a few years ago. Yeah. SEW saying that's exactly what I want to do to my 6.1. Was thinking about adding a tune. 6.1s are we'll pick up with a tune too. Oh, Jeremy's saying check out Flagler Dodge. They took in a 6.1 Challenger 6-speed. They want 19 for it. Sam's talking about diesel compression ratios for sure. Bay saying I'd love for me to own and race a 1320. Man, if I still had a local drag strip, I would like a 1320. Car holds a very near and dear place to my heart too. CW saying, Jeremy, if you can snag that, yeah. Oh, Gary's saying when he has a 86 F-150, when I let off the gas, I feel a clunk. Check your motor mounts and check your transmission mount. Oh, Jeremy's saying, can't just pick up 22 RT. The car is badass, black with black mesh wheels. Nice. John's asking if I had the opportunity to buy a manual Hellcat, would I have bought a manual instead of the automatic? No, I wanted the automatic because I, at the time, was doing a lot of drag racing. And my experience with Hellcats is that they are built like a tank. So love the automatics in the Hellcats. I like the manuals too. My only beef with the manual in the Hellcat is that first gear is just a little bit long, in my opinion. It's a 224 or 226 first gear. SRT saying Ford's 2024 GT may be your next V8 for the channel. Might be the next V8 for a lot of folks. The thing is I'm not opposed to any of the Hurricane variants, whether it's the 400 horse, the 500 horse, potential hybridization of either one. I think that would be such a fun and cool car for Dodge to come out with. Announce something, please, Dodge. It's driving us all crazy that we're not hearing anything cool coming out of our favorite brand. But Ford's doing a good job, and Ford Performance Parts will supply and support their enthusiasts in ways that Dodge and Direct Connection simply will not. Case in point is the supercharger kits for the F-150. And I know that they're kind of a shallow end type of a kit, but man, they make a good amount of power and they're fun on the street. John's asking, the manual Hellcats will always lose to automatics and automatic Hellcats. All things being equal, yeah. In a straight line competition, yes. But that's putting things a little bit too simplistic. I mean, they technically do, but I mean, not necessarily always. And a lot of that has to do with the driver. Is the guy with the automatic driving it like he doesn't know what he's doing? It always depends on who's behind the wheel. And driver quality for driver quality, the automatic will win, but not always. Road Test is in. My man saying, hey, be great, chat. Thank you very much. Hey, listen, y'all, go check out Road Test TV's channel. He's got some of the most fun heads up type of drag racing videos, a lot of FAST, a lot of factory stock racing on his channel. Check it out. He's got one of my favorite cars on the internet, which is a big block coupe. I don't know what that was. It is pouring down rain over here, guys. Anyway, go check out his Go check out his channel when y'all get a chance. Trying to say, but is it true that manual transmission can hold more horsepower than the automatics for giving out? No, that is not necessarily the case. And Sovereign's posting up Road Test's YouTube channel. Yeah, definitely. Y'all get over there and check that out. That's one of the channels. I don't really comment a lot on Road Test's channel or videos mainly. I mean, I don't really have anything that would be a contributing factor to it, but there's a lot of really cool old school stuff on his channel. So check that out. Behemoth is in saying, I'm in. Dodge needs to work with the aftermarket similar to the way Ford does. ProCharge Vet is hitting the track tomorrow. Keep me posted. You guys that don't know, Behemoth's got a ProCharge Vet, which is absolutely nasty. So yes, keep me posted on that, my friend. Chris is saying, built 392, 411, or 426. Which would you pick? If I'm building one, I am going to build a 426 because it's going to be a street car, and I'm not really going to care what I'm up to. If I'm building a 411, it's because I'm going to be throwing a lot of boost at it. And so I would go with the 411 over the 426, primarily just because of side loading. Not that it really makes that big of a difference. The rod ratio is not that different from a 411 to a 426, but I would be going with the 411 probably, depending on the kind of boost that I'm looking to build with it. Chris is asking, I've got a 1320 ProCharge or cam full bolt-on. Depends on what you're doing with it. If you're racing it, the problem with the cam full bolt-on is, what do you mean by full bolt-on? Does that mean, because that can mean a couple of different things. Cam full bolt-on can mean shaved cylinder heads, different intake manifold, big cam, and the list goes on and on from there. Or full bolt-on just means long tube headers and maybe a ported throttle body. You know what I mean? So if it's me and I've got a 1320 and I'm just out looking to have fun with a car, I would go low boost ProCharger, say around 7 PSI. You'll pick up about 150 horsepower into the rear wheels and just go out there and have fun with the car. Don't go full bolt-on with a cam with a 1320 unless you are planning on really going aggressive with it. Mainly because you'll spend about half the money that you're going to spend putting the ProCharger in, but you'll never see the money again. Whereas with a ProCharger, you can remove it and sell that kit on. That's just my 2 cents. Now, if I personally had a 1320, I would go with a small cam, long tubes. I'd probably, since everything's going to be apart anyway, check the intake manifold, do a little bit of cleanup to it. And basically just put together a high 10-second fun car, but I wouldn't put a cam in it that would be super big. It would be like a 224, 226, 230, 232 cam. Something that would work with a stock intake manifold. Jeremy says, that's why I'm thinking of a UC8 Z51 for my next car. Yeah, I wouldn't mess with a Z06. I don't know that you'd be happy with it. But yeah, Behemoth, keep me posted. I want to hear how that thing does. John's asking, can a very good driver drive a manual and shift gears at the same time as the automatic transmission? No, not really. I used to bracket race Foxy, and Foxy's a 5-speed car. I didn't realize that there was that big of I just grew up driving manual cars too. So to me, it didn't really matter. You're really more about tires and slipping the clutch and get the car to get out of the hole more with a manual transmission car at that point. And really, when you start messing with it on that level, you start cooking clutches and flywheels pretty regularly. And so there's that. Ghost is asking, why not a 440 stroker? You can actually go as high as 454 cubic inches. In fact, that's what a lot of the guys that are setting records with some of these cars, they're actually significantly bigger than what you might think. 454 is not uncommon. And their compression, by the way, when you're talking about builds like that, you're not talking about street compression anymore. I mean, I wouldn't even play with anything with less than 12 and a half compression ratio. It's not even, I mean, why would I? And if I'm playing around with the 85, then I'm at like 13 and a half to 14 and a half to 1 compression minimum on that. And that's just the reality of what you're playing with at that level. Slash is asking, can I tune my stock 5.7 to red line at 6,000? It won't do you any good because your intake manifold stops being efficient at about 5,500 or so. Base is saying if it's Tony Stewart, maybe. But for the average driver, no. And like I say, I used to bracket race a manual car, and I can go through gears. I mean, it sounds like I'm in an automatic. It's ba, 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 ba. But I mean, that car right there was still manual. And yeah, I did a whole lot of drag racing with manual cars. Used to drive for guys, actually. Him saying Hellcat M6 gear ratios are not as fun as Scat Pack gear ratios on the street. That is real talk right there. Road Test saying, thank you, Being Sovereign. Absolutely. Thank you, Road Test. We appreciate you, bud. Chris is saying Whipple 426 or Whipple 411. Here's the funny thing. So it's going to be, we're talking about a 3.0 or a 3.8 whip. What's the goal for the car, man? What are you going to be doing with this thing? Is it a race car or is it a street car? If it's a street car, it doesn't matter what the displacement is underneath that supercharger. It really doesn't, because you go into boost, displacement is on demand. It's called your right foot. It's just the more you press it, the more displacement you get because it's got a positive displacement supercharger on it. If you're racing it, then there's no replacement for displacement. I wouldn't go 426. I'd go 454 and throw whatever pulley I needed to get that thing to the maximum rotor speed on the 3.0 or the 3.6 whip. And then fuel it accordingly. So the question that you're asking is you're already coming into the conversation as a compromise. Again, for the street, 6.2 liters is all you need. Again, because you literally have displacement on demand with your right foot. If you're racing the thing, I know guys that have been doing just fine with 411 cubic inches. I put cams together for guys with 411, 426, 440, 454, with positive displacement superchargers. I can tell you that with boost like that, with a positive displacement especially, it just does not matter. Sauer's asking, he sent me a video on the end of tuning. That was actually a fun video. Thank you for watching. Chris is saying, I do race. Personal best is 1188, full weight, still stock. Drag that stock number down a little bit. I know the car can be quicker than that, but I say that depending on your density altitude, your static altitude as well. Oh, Chris saying Gen 5 3-liter Whipple. Yeah, don't at that stage of the game, man, don't worry at all about displacement. And again, if you are legit racing the car, like if you are racing this thing and your number is like a 790 in the quarter mile, all right, and you're hitting this thing with boost and nitrous, or if your goal is mid 8s in the quarter mile, boost only, then that's when displacement can begin to mean something. But man, you're going to have so many other parts that are going to be a lot more important than the displacement of that engine to get down the track properly. Now, look, man, you got to remember that you're talking to the same guy that was around the stock stock 2.4 liter supercharger effort, which was stock 2.4 liter supercharger E85 ice tank 250 shot running 870s. Now, it wasn't my car, but I was somewhat involved with that build, and it was, so it depends on, it just all depends on what you're up to with the car, man. SCW, what gears are suggested for faster acceleration in my 6.1? I mean, it just depends on what you're looking to do with it. Again, 370s might be a little bit better. I wouldn't go 390s, though, because they're just too buzzy on the freeway. Base is asking, drag pack 324, the 345 into the road legal roller. You could, or you could build your own, too. It's compression ratio and boost with really good flowing heads. Sovereign saying, yeah, it wouldn't work really. Yeah, some of these real nasty cams I put together are actually only nasty to help a supercharger not try to build. It's actually, I should put them together to kill boost in some cases, believe it or not. Oh, Chris saying, great point about selling the Pro Charger. Yeah. That's just my O2 on that. The Pro Charger, it's not a bad thing to run on those cars. Again, keep the boost low only because you have a heavy car. But yeah, you can be fine. Yeah. And the drag pack engine is race gas only, so that would be tough. Base saying Scavenger was going to get trade his for a 170 until the dealer told him a 50 large markup. Yeah. And y'all remember, I was a huge proponent of Scavenger getting a 170. In fact, he was the first name that I mentioned in one of the videos that I made about who I thought should get one. So I was also told a very heavy number above sticker, and it got underneath my skin so much that I just with the 170. Road test B, bummer about your local track. We may be getting a new track in Palm Beach after losing PBIR. That's good to hear. So keep the faith. Sometimes county officials wake up and recognize the loss of economic impact, which is true. Oh, no, Jeremy, I haven't seen anything about the gumball races. Oh, Chris saying, yeah, I've got the 4 triple pump. Saying, thank you very much for the knowledge. You got it. SCW saying, I'm going shopping. Also, drag pack motor will not play nice on the street. They were designed for quarter-mile hits. Yeah, there's a lot of things about that engine that is not street-friendly. I'm on the HD cam, so I don't know. It probably is the feed speed because we've got a storm that just blew through that probably wiped out half the decent towers out here. Manual recommends a teardown every 60 passes. Yeah. No, I'm like I say, I'm on the HD cam right now. It's right there. I'm pointing at. I got my finger right in its eyeball. Or no, I don't. Oh, wait a minute. What the hell? Hold, please. Hold on. It is not on. Why is it not on? Hold on.